Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I am your host for the 50th time, Jessica Gerlock. This is our big 50 episode. I cannot believe it. It's crazy to me to think that we've talked 50 times. We've had many, many guests. I don't even know at the time. But, I honestly didn't think we'd make it past like 10 episodes, like season one. And now we're at 50. And it's crazy. It feels surreal to say out loud. When I sat down to record episode one, I remember staring at this microphone. I think it might have been a different microphone. I'm not really sure. Thinking, what am I doing? Who am I to do this? Who am I to even have a podcast? Who am I to talk about these kinds of topics like strength and growth and mental and physical health and mindset kind of stuff and self-care and all that fun kind of stuff. I didn't feel like someone who was fully evolved, perfectly confident either in myself. I definitely felt nervous. I felt exposed in some ways, and I felt excited in other ways. And I felt very aware that once I pressed record on this computer, there was no more hiding. This was going to be me. This is who I am. Whether you meet me at the grocery store or you meet me at a convention or whatever, this is me. And I'm putting my full self out there to try to help others try to find their confidence in themselves. I felt all these emotions, even though I did it anyways. I pressed record, and here we are, 50 episodes later. Wow. What's funny is when I started this podcast, I thought I was building um a platform. I thought I was creating content, positive, meaningful content. I thought I was sharing what I knew from my personal experience, from my weight loss journey, from being a personal trainer, as a woman navigating life, as someone passionate about mindset and growth, and just sharing what I've learned. But what I didn't realize is that I was really building myself. Every episode that I recorded forced me to articulate what I wholeheartedly believed. Each episode, before I press play, I go through my thoughts. And every conversation made me confront what I was still growing, what I was still going through. Every time I showed up, even on weeks I didn't feel inspired or motivated, I became more disciplined, more grounded, and more clear in what I want in life and what my vision's going to be. This podcast didn't just document my growth over the past, I think we started in April 2024, so the past almost 2 years. It demanded it. When I recorded episode one, I was strong. I thought I was strong, but in a different way. And I was strong in independence. I knew I was strong in my self-reliance, strong in the I got this mindset. I always thought I could do whatever I put my mind to. But I was still learning that strength doesn't mean hardness. It doesn't mean shutting down. It doesn't mean pretending you don't want more. Over these past 50 episodes, I've evolved. And it's cool to see. I've listened to that first episode and it's like, wow, we've come a long way. Even the way I speak, I'm impressed with myself. I give myself a little pat on the shoulder because it took hard work. This didn't happen overnight. My whole fitness journey did not happen overnight. But all these small steps are building the life that I'm proud of, that I'm confident in myself. My standards have evolved, my voice has evolved, my confidence, even the way I define strength has evolved. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't think episode 1, Jessica, could have fully imagined episode 50, Jessica. Not because I've become someone completely different, because I'm definitely myself, but because I've become more myself. This is who I feel like in my own skin. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm more clear. I'm more intentional what I want in my life. I'm more rooted, less apologetic. I know who I am. And this episode is going to be very honest. We're going to go back a little bit, be a little bit reflective. It's going to be I'm going to get vulnerable, but I always get vulnerable cuz I'm truthful and honest. Because growth doesn't the pat on the back that it deserves. And growth deserves to be acknowledged, I believe. And if you've been here since episode 1, or this is your first ever episode you've ever listened to, we're going to step into a moment together that represents consistency, courage, and evolution. And that's really all about what 5 Foot Strong is. So today we're going to talk about who I was at episode 1 and who I am now at episode 50. And maybe as you listen, you'll think of your own, version 1. Think of who you were in the beginning of your journey of whatever may be. Because the most powerful thing about strength, it's not that you were born with it. It's that you built it. It's such a powerful thing. So let's get into it all, and let's start. A question was, what was going through my mind when I recorded episode 1? Did I have fears and doubts? Of course. Did I think, what am I doing? I don't belong in this space. Did I think I have imposter syndrome? Of course. But did I press record anyways? Yeah. And in just a simple term, that's strength. I was ready for my voice to be heard. I wasn't going to hide anymore because I thought that I have something to share. And I think that podcasting is a great way for information to be shared, and real information that someone can take away and instantly use to make their lives better or make their even day better. And I think that's a very powerful thing. Did I think that first of all, going into podcasting, I had imposter syndrome when I became a personal trainer, but I've been one now for 10 years, and guess what? I still have it. I don't feel like this knowledgeable, but like, I guess if you ask me questions, I have the answers to them. And that's just because I've done this I started my fitness journey in 2014, so it's been 12 years now. So from 12 years of knowledge and working on fitness and gaining experience and knowledge in self-care and dealing with my own mental health journeys and wanting to help others from my experiences, hopefully to motivate others to get help and maybe live their best life. We only have one life to live, and life is too short. And if you feel like you're in a hole and you can't get yourself up, ask for that hand and help. Whether it be a therapist, whether it be a parent, whether it be a friend, whoever it may be. Don't let yourself fall into that hole. It's very easy, I know from experience, but that's what I want this podcast was. I knew I had people telling me for a while, they're like, why don't you get into the podcast space? Because I wrote a book and I'm trying to build this health and wellness brand. And they're like, well, podcasting is so huge. Why don't you get into it? And I really thought the podcast industry was oversaturated. But then I really thought about it and I thought, let's add some positivity because a lot of these podcasts are a negative. It's like what's going on in this world, and it's like you know what? Sometimes we need to work on ourselves first, rather than look outward, and then look outward. So yes, I didn't feel like it, but I have 50 episodes, so I guess I could consider myself a podcaster yet. But I still feel like I have that imposter syndrome. I definitely still have that imposter syndrome that I feel like I don't belong. But I know, I look back and I'm proud of myself. We went from just audio, then we went from audio to video, and then we got in deeper conversations and we've had some powerful conversations with some guests. And I really think that even if somebody takes one thing from one episode out of the 50, I did my job, because that was the whole point of this podcast, is to know that you're not alone, to look at the positives, look at your strengths, because we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we just got to focus on the strengths in our lives. That's when we know, that's when when we focus on our strengths and give them the love and nourish that it needs, but also acknowledging your weaknesses as well is a strength. So taking yourself as the best project you're ever going to work on. And each day, whether it be your mental or your physical health, is an opportunity to just thrive and be your best self and be grateful for the day. That's what strength is. And so if I can spread some positivity through this podcast, I did my job. And I think through 50 episodes, I think through thousands of people who have tuned in, hopefully who have got something from this, and the fears and the doubts that I had on day one have not stopped me from episode 50. So I think that's really cool. My confidence in my voice, also from episode 1 to now, as I said before, I hear it in my own voice. I feel confident now behind this mic. I know what I'm talking about. I feel confident in my lane. And I'm going to share what I believe from my own experience, from my expertise, and I'm going to try to help inform others to benefit themselves. And when I was talking in episode 1, I kind of heard that hesitation in the back of my voice, not feeling like I truly understood what I was doing. And I had that self-doubt and those fears the back in my voice. I hear it. I don't hear those doubts anymore in my voice. If you talk to me, it's like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. And that's from 50 episodes, and hopefully from the next episodes and whatever else happens in my life, my voice gets more confident. And as I become who more am I am myself. And I think that's really powerful. The beliefs and habits I've outgrown since starting this podcast would have to be, my standards have gotten higher in everything, because I believe in myself more, because I know, like, if I can edit and produce and give out 50 episodes of a podcast and spread positivity and had thousands of viewers, well, I could do anything, right? I've written a book, so I could do that. I've lost 100 pounds. So it gives you that belief in yourself. And that's all I keep doing, is challenging myself in different areas of myself to get that belief in myself, because the teenage version of Jessica did not have belief in herself. She did not believe she could accomplish anything. She did not know where she belonged in this world. She did not she felt very different. And now I feel like me being different and me being unique is just the path that I'm supposed to take. And I've accepted that. And having strength is to accept that there's always going to be chapters of your life and growth. And to be honest, I've also realized that I'm grateful and I'm lucky and my mindset is more driven than ever. And I couldn't have said that in April 2024. It just wasn't like that. I've been a trainer for like 11 years now. I've trained hundreds of clients. I feel confident in that now. But did I feel confident training my first client? Absolutely not. But that's growth, and that's okay to accept that. You're not going to be perfect on day one. But as long as you keep improving yourself over and over, whatever it may be, then you get better at it. You might not be the Michael Jordan. I might not be the Giggly Squad, but at least my voice is being heard. And it's being heard for what I want it to be heard for. This isn't gossip. This podcast. Yes, I love my pop culture, but this is to look deeper inside ourselves and how we can improve ourselves. And I don't want to talk about others on this podcast. I want to take deep dives in on ourselves. The guests that we have gone on, have told journeys that they've personally gone through and how they've gotten out of it and the strengths that they've learned to cross along their journeys as well. And that's the whole point, is that take something out of it to improve your life. The 5 Foot Strong podcast started as, yeah, I was going to help give you some fitness tips and maybe talk a little mental health, but it's really evolved into a podcast about growth, about evolution, about how we can improve ourselves when we take a deeper look in it ourselves. And that's a really important thing. So what's to come next? Well, I've talked about it before, and this is the first time I'm going to say the title, or the current title right now. I will be coming out with a children's book called The Smallest Baller. It is about a female basketball player who is the smallest player on her team, but with the right mindset and believing in herself, which relates back to this podcast. You can do anything you put your mind to. So whether you're, our slogan is whether you're 5 feet tall or 7 feet tall. Well, whether you're 2 feet tall or 5 feet tall or 7 feet tall, it doesn't matter. We want to focus on ourselves and believing in ourselves, giving ourselves the belief that we can, if we put our minds to anything, we can get through anything. So hopefully this book will get a younger generation to believe in themselves. That's my goal with my brand, is just no matter your height, is to believe in yourselves and know that the confidence comes from within. You don't need external validation for anything. You need to focus within, and how can you improve yourself? Accept your weaknesses, work on them, acknowledge them, and move forward. Work on yourself, because when you work on yourself, you end up being a better person to people around you, and your mindset changes. If there's one thing these 50 episodes have taught me, it's this. You don't become stronger by waiting until you feel ready. You become stronger by showing up before you even feel ready. Episode 1, Jessica did not feel confident. She didn't feel certain. She didn't have any proof that anyone would even listen to this podcast. But she had conviction. And sometimes, only sometimes, conviction is louder than confidence. Over the past 50 episodes, I've learned that strength isn't about being unshakable. It's about being willing to grow, willing to evolve, willing to take a good look at yourself and say, there's another level in me that I'm ready to go. I've outgrown needing approval. I've outgrown shrinking to be more digestible. I've outgrown explaining my standards. And I've stepped into a version of myself that feels calmer, clearer, and definitely more grounded than ever. You don't have to be loud. I'm not louder, not harder, just more aligned in my journey and where I'm supposed to be today. And maybe that's really what growth is and really looks like. It's not becoming someone else, but becoming more of who you were always meant to be. If you're listening right now, I want you to think of your own episode 1, your beginning of your journey, the version of you who just was starting something because you wanted it. The version of you who said yes when it would have way been easier to say stay small. The version of you who was scared, but you moved forward anyway. Honor that person. Give them the flowers that they deserve. They were scared, but moved anyway. They are the reason you're here today. And that April 2024 version of Jessica, is definitely stronger and more aligned with where I'm supposed to be in my life. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Growth, evolution in your own personal life, whether that be your mental health, whether that be your physical health, it's all in the right direction. If there's something in your life right now that you've been hesitating on, whether that be a goal, maybe a standard of yours, a boundary, a dream, let this be your reminder today. You don't need 50 steps ahead. You don't need to be 50 steps ahead to have figured it all out. You just need to have courage to press record that very first time on your life. To everyone who has listened and who has shared and left a review and sent me a message how maybe a conversation I've had has related to them, who I've trained personally or virtually, who've bought my book, You Don't Make Friends with Salad, or simply have just grown alongside me. I want to personally thank you because these 50 episodes and over these my journey's in this fitness industry has been almost 11 years now of being a trainer. And you guys have trusted me with your personal journeys. And I've always been appreciative that I could help someone else because that was the whole point of even changing careers in the first place. This podcast is called the 5 Foot Strong Podcast for a reason. Strength does not come from your height. It does not come from your status. It doesn't come from perfection either. It comes from the decisions you personally make every single day. And I'm deciding right now that the future is going to be very, very bright and even more aligned for each and every one of us. This is only the beginning. I'm not finished evolving. We're going to evolve together. And remember, whether you're 5 feet tall, like myself, or 7 feet tall, we are all strong in our own unique and beautiful ways. I want you all to have a great day and stay strong.